My 28M wife 26F got tested for STDs the same afternoon that she returned from an 8-week-long business trip. Used a solo shopping trip to conceal the appointment. Throwaway for reasons. My wife is a great person and we have always gotten along. We have been married for almost 2 years and we've been together for 4.5 years. We are in a monogamous relationship and have both had several partners prior to our relationship. Every year, my wife goes on a long business trip, typically about 2 months. During this time, communication over phone and email can be difficult, contingent upon the technological issues where she works. She really enjoys her work during the business trips and usually comes home feeling fulfilled and excited about life. Normally when she comes home, she takes a day or two to rest and overcome the jet lag 28-hour travel time and 21-hour time difference. The following days, we tend to spend lots of time together, time, dates, cuddling, catching up etc. because she's been gone so long. This year, she came home as her same excited self after having had a great trip. In fact, she seemed so excited that she wanted to work on some projects, but would need to go get some material from the store. About 3 hours after picking her up from the airport, she says she wants to go shopping for her craft project and that she will likely spend several hours out shopping. She really emphasizes how much time she'll need to go shopping, many hours. I think this is a little weird considering that she just came back from a 28-hour flight, hasn't slept, and she's usually not the type to spend more than an hour or two shopping, but it's fine. About 5 hours later, she comes home with a single bag of craft material. I register this as strange, but don't really think about it. I chalk it up to taking a lot of time to pick out her materials, carefully selecting them instead of bulk buying. Over the next few days, she didn't really go through the jet lag phase and stayed distant. I thought that was weird but ended up giving her space and just focused on school. About 2 weeks post-return, we still haven't had time. Despite my advances and lightly prodding the issue getting I'm just feeling off and don't feel like it. I find that strange, since she is usually a 3-4 times a week kind of person and we've been exploring some new kinks prior to her trip, which we had talked about kindling once she returned. The first few times that she doesn't reciprocate time advances, I don't think anything of it. We've always had a very open no policy and are attentive to one another needs, i.e. time, tired, not feeling it, need it now. After 2 weeks, the combination of her distance and no time feels really off. Over the weekend she met up with her girlfriends for a day out. During that time, I snooped on her computer. If that bothers you, stop reading now. We have always been extremely open with our phones and social media. We both know our phone passwords, computer passwords. She knows my Facebook etc. While she was out with her friend, I looked on her computer. She left her work and personal email, Reddit, and Facebook open, logged in. So I looked. Nothing out of the ordinary. I looked in the recycle bin and found that she had taken some self-nudes with her phone, sent them to her email, downloaded, then deleted them, hence the recycling bin. I thought that was odd. Normally we would send nudes to each other, not put them on our computers. Maybe she really liked them, she did look hot and decided to keep them. This has my gears turning, because she has been really disinterested in time since returning, but is taking selfies in the nude wearing lingerie. I looked at the metadata on the picture, confirmed it was taken recently and that it was downloaded from Gmail. I went and looked at her Gmail. Nothing terribly odd here, but anything before 3 days after returning home had been deleted from her inbox, then deleted from the trash folder, not archived. For example, if she came home on the 1st, everything before the 4th was deleted. However, in her trash bin, was a confirmation of appointment for a health clinic in an adjacent city. It had a link with the user ID to log into the patient portal if you needed to change your appointment. I logged in with the ID and her common passwords, which I already knew from us sharing. The portal is mostly empty, but showed that she had scheduled and kept an appointment the same afternoon that she got home from her trip. The portal allows you to request records from visits, so I did. They were delivered to the portal about 30 minutes later. She had gone in for STD testing 5 hours after coming home from an 8-week business trip. To summarize: 1. Gets tested for STDs while saying she is going shopping the day she returns from an 8-week business trip. 2. Concealed the fact that she was tested, didn't leave phone number or address at clinic, careful to delete emails pertaining to the clinic, made cover excuse to go out. 2. Super distant with me, very engaging towards friends, coworkers, no S time. 3. Says not interested in S time, but dresses up to take nudies, clearly masturbating, found lots of PRN open on her computer, vibrator out, not anything odd, we watch PRN together and alone, open about masturbation etc. 4. On a similar business trip, she did almost the exact same thing. Got tested as soon as she got home. 7-week trip, refrained from S time for about a week distant, I found out via similar ways, shared computer, saw email from health clinic about results on portal. Previously, when I asked her about it, she said she had a UTI and went in for a full STD panel. Totally plausible, I let it go. I just feel like there's a pattern here. Also said that STD test was normal for women during checkups, although most clinics say that you must ask for the test's reasonable suspicion. 6. No real reason to suspect cheating, but goddamn, this feels weird. All the elements of possibility are there, I suppose. Possible explanations. 1. She had another health problem that seemed to resolve itself. Maybe she wanted more follow-up and didn't want to belabor me with the details, although the other health issue isn't urogenital related. She didn't receive any tests that would aim to diagnose the concomitant issue. 2. Health information could be weird if someone reading over your shoulder sees an email in your personal inbox from a clinic, so you delete it. I'm not sure this explains why her inbox was clean stuff deleted from the trash. 3. Maybe she feels a little detached from me after being away for so long and needs more time to warm back up. 4. Could have also had another UTI and got STD panel at the request of practitioner. Although, no antibiotics treatments were administered during the visit, weren't documented. 5. Maybe she thought I was cheating and got tested. Although, 8 weeks later seems a little outside of the incubation period. The secrecy of the whole thing really bothers me. Any ideas on how to approach this topic with my wife or other possible explanations? Update 1. Admitted to cheating on her trip. Says only once, evidence suggests at least N2. Update 2. 3 confirmed in one trip. Digging in now. Update 3. Typical it was a one-time thing responses, it was your fault responses. Confirmed at least 3 dudes during her last trip, likely systemic serial cheater since we've been together. Refuses to admit anything outside this business trip even though she had carbon copy behavior 2 years ago. Refuses to be honest. Claims she wasn't going to meet anyone on her current solo camping trip, I know otherwise. Keep catching her in lies. Filing papers meow. Update 4, it's at least 4 now. 1 on her first trip 2 years ago, hence the STD test then. Mutual friend knew about it, kept it secret. This is days a week after we got engaged. Redditor's reactions update after. Redditor 1, she's totally cheating. Redditor follow up, this man is choosing to be blind. It's like somebody is slapping him non-stop with red flags, over and over and over again. Whilst laying bloody and battered on the floor, flag stripes all over his broken body, he keeps murmuring, she did not cheat on me, no way. Redditor 2, honey, I know about the STD checkup. That's how you approach this situation. Redditor follow up, or I would like to talk about your recent doctor's appointment. At this point, there is absolutely no need to jump to conclusions. Don't spend a lot of time hashing over it, just go and speak to her. Do not listen to all these miserable FCKS who will say you're blind, stupid, foolish. None of that it matters. What matters is getting it straight with this woman and getting back to your life. Redditor 3, yeah, she had time with someone else on her business trip. Obviously that's why she got tested as soon as she got home and probably isn't having time with you so she can get her results back first and make sure if she caught an STD she doesn't give it to you. That's the easiest explanation. The other explanations you came up with don't make sense. I would confront her. Answer, I saw her test results, she doesn't have anything. But, Presumably she saw the test results well before I did and still seemed disinterested in sex, so maybe cheating isn't a good explanation? Update: my 28M wife 26F had several extramarital partners and we are getting divorced. Just need to vent a little. Hey folks. I'm a D-Day plus 55 and I wanted to share a little bit more of my story and just talk it out. It gets a bit lonely at night and that's when my gears start cranking without the noise of the day to keep up distractions, so writing it out and clearing the air is perhaps cathartic. Wife and I have been married for 1.5 years, together for 4.5. We are both graduate students. I'm working towards my MD PhD in genetics and she is working towards her PhD in microbiology. No kids, few assets, not much debt. Here's the backstory if you'd like more information. Luckily, we study at different schools. I'm on the West Coast where she was residing with me and working remotely, and she studies at my undergraduate institution in another state. When I found out and confronted her, she was on her way back to her school to do lab work and have committee meetings. So our communications were largely conducted via text messaging and email. She was too much of a coward to speak to me on the phone. I suppose the discovery of infidelity in one's relationship is shocking and painful and begins to pave an arduous road towards the penultimate reconciliation or the parsing of community property. In my case, it's been the latter. It's not the S-time that bothers me. I can understand those inclinations. I'm a biologist. Attraction, emotional investment, feeling wanted, the taboo of risk, adrenaline, those things make sense to me. What I could not understand is how my wife, someone I adore and respect immensely, could lie to her affair partners about who and what I am. It's like her inner monologue flowed freely to them, her true thoughts about me expressed vocally. That made me physically sick. I'm not a bad guy, I've always been there for my wife. We jived on every level from toilet paper orientation to politics, humor, hobbies, and S-time. It just doesn't make sense. During the post-mortem, I've often come to the realization that, as a partner on a two-way street, I could have always done more or achieved a stronger marriage. That's the sentimental part of my brain saying, look at all these missed opportunities for communication and growth. If you had really loved your wife, you would have figured it out and met her needs. That's a deadly game of roulette to play. The retrospective what if on infinite regression plays discordantly upon the soul. If the discovery of infidelity wasn't shocking enough, I also asked my wife to reconcile. She need. I gave her a list of demands with 7 items. The header reads, the ground rules. If you choose not to comply or I suspect that you have failed to comply with these rules, I will divorce you. Here is the abridged version of what I asked for. 1. You will allow me unfettered access to your phones, accounts, devices, and computers at any time without hesitation. 2. You will forfeit and show me all communications and materials of all extramarital relations that you've engaged in, no matter how minor or how insignificant you feel they were. 3. You will allow me to professionally recover data from your phone and other devices. If there is something that you haven't told me yet or haven't given me the full story, this would be a good time to do so. I extend you amnesty for other grievances notwithstanding lying. 4. You will contact all parties that you've engaged with, in any way, and explain that you were in a monogamous relationship, your husband knows, and that you ducked up. You will apologize for misleading anyone about your relationship status, and you will contact their partners and explain what happened. 5. You will get tested for STDs and STIs every month for the next 6 months, including blood panels. This information will be made available to me at my request. 6. You will seek and engage in cognitive behavioral therapy until you have been treated for your dysmorphia, eating disorder, and have healthy managed your S-time assaults. You and I will receive marriage counseling indefinitely or until we both feel that our problems have been resolved. We will both engage in communication coursework or reading. 7. Rules for opening the relationship. Maybe too controlling? Everything that I asked her for, I also offered to reciprocate where applicable. The first bloodletting was the discovery of the infidelity, and the mortal strike was her denying me safety in the relationship through dismissal of my needs. Once it was clear that she wasn't trying to reconcile, I was ready to burn it to the ground. I threatened to contact her partners, contact her AP SOs, file professional misconduct complaints. One AP was her physician, contact her research board about misconduct, and contact her direct bosses, people whose image is jeopardized by her actions. She freaked out and suddenly became extremely receptive to what I was asking for. Begged me not to ruin her career. Begged me not tell anyone. I felt bad, apologized, and told her I wouldn't do that. By then, she had already gone to her bosses and conveyed some truth-trickled story to them. I obviously added a lot more pain to the situation by playing that card. This was almost a month ago. She filed for divorce the next day, threatened to file an order of protection so that I wouldn't contact people in her life, and then told me she couldn't forgive me for threatening to expose her like that. That's when I woke up. I had been drowning, undergoing hemorrhagic shock, and the hypothermia was creeping in. I had been desperately trying to get my wife on the shoreline to throw me a life preserver. My actions caused her to get her feet wet and she couldn't handle it. I started to understand who she was, weak and cowardly. Not exactly life partner material. A few weeks later, I had realization, it's like she died. That's what the pain and emptiness and anger feels like. I found out later that she was still in contact with one of her partners. Another punch in the gut. Anyways, that's where I'm at. I applaud you if you made this far. Our divorce is underway and will hopefully be resolved cleanly. For the time being, things here are quiet, empty, and lonely. My schoolwork has suffered and I'm thinking about taking some time off to process everything. Thanks for listening. Redditor's reactions last update after. Redditor 1, you should report the physician. He is unprofessional. Redditor 2, 1 AP was her physician. Agree with not going scorched earth, but I would report this guy. It's very unethical and medical board violation for a physician to take advantage of the power dynamic of a physician-patient relationship. Essentially, he's a sexual predator. You'd be doing society and his future patients a favor. Op answer, yeah, I've really thought about this one a lot. I have a professional obligation to report him. Like you're suggesting, this probably isn't the first time he has engaged in this kind of behavior. According to my wife, he made her verbally affirm that he was not her doctor. I'm not sure if he signed any medical documentation that would suggest he was involved with her care. However, she acknowledged that he was on her care team and that he performed sonography to screen for internal bleeding, at one point commenting that my wife had acute uterus. The guy sounds like a scumbag. I'm not sure what third-party reporting would accomplish, though I suspect my wife and he would both deny the encounters. Redditor 3, this guy is an intellect. Period. Of course he is pissed his wife cheated on him. The part that is the hardest for him is that his wife lied to all her partners about him as if he didn't matter and wasn't a significant and major part of her life, and that's what hurts him the most. Most of are super pissed about the time and emotional betrayal. He's not, and that's okay. His pain is his pain. People please. When you first found out that your partner had cheated and you were trying to reconcile with them, we all gave our partners a list of must-dos. His list may be worded a little bit differently, but basically he's asking for the same things that we all want and deserve. He loved his wife. They did a lot of things together. They related to each other intellectually. To ask why he wanted to reconcile. That's kind of a dumb question. He trusted her explicitly and she took that trust and blew it right out of the water and then acted like it was his problem. It really wasn't about him blowing up her career. It was about letting these other men know that A, she wasn't a single person like she presented. B, she was indeed a very married woman in a committed, monogamous relationship. She told these men she was separated, that she was an open marriage, that she wasn't married, that he knew and didn't mind. C, that her husband was a very loving, caring and supportive man. I think he should contact her APs and tell them the truth. Who gives a duck about her career? She had 4 affairs, he was fully committed to her in every way, was open to having an open marriage if that's what she needed. She traveled extensively and he took care of their home, all their pets, household responsibilities, plus worked and went to school full time. While she was traveling to other countries for her research via the university she worked for. Maybe, his wife shouldn't be ducking so many different people in the middle of a government project? Maybe we can support this guy by telling him he'll get through this and be better for it because that woman is out of his life. Op, you have been more than kind to this woman. You have a great attorney, other posts and a good head on your shoulders. I say once the divorce is done she gets the nuclear option. But seriously, the AP's wives deserve to know. Everyone needs testing. With all the partner swapping going around, and let's talk about the doctor for a moment. The doctor treating all these people in this remote location is the one that concerns me the most. It's pretty unethical to sleep with your patients. He slept with your wife and probably others. Update: avoiding cheaters in the future. What are some telltale signs someone has a proclivity to cheat? I've been reflecting on this question more and more as I think about dating again. A few things have struck me in my past relationship as being red flags for cheating. 1. My so would never ask me to do something, she would demand it. For example, when we first started dating, I was helping her hang some pictures. At one point, I was across the room and she flatly said, "Hand me the hammer." She didn't ask, she wasn't polite about it. Her tone indicated it was not a question, but a command. She felt a baseline of entitlement. 2. My so would always cheat during board games to win. Always. It got to the point where I could no longer play a board game with her without constant surveillance that she wasn't sneaking $500 from the bank during Monopoly or miscalculating points during Phase 10. Again, something that screamed the rules don't matter for me. What are your experiences and what kind of behaviors can be avoided in future relationships? Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, look at their friends, show me who your friends are and I'll show you who you are. No long-term friend says a lot. Honesty on little things. Redditor follow-up, absolutely, you are the company you keep. My words when I found out my husband cheated, his buddy was going through a divorce and needed a sidekick. Stupid is what stupid does. Redditor 2, sure, there are certain signs to be leery of. History of cheating, frequent flirting, hesitation to be transparent, etc. But I honestly don't think there's a foolproof method. My ex fooled everyone. The biggest red flag I've heard from one close friend family member was that she was a little sheepish, sort of having her head down a lot, with lack of self-esteem. I could see lack of self-esteem being a major red flag, as people who struggle with that will probably thrive off validation attention from others, which can likely lead to infidelity. But on the whole, my ex's affair came so far out of left field, I'm still having trouble rectifying who she was versus who she is now and who she really is at her core. Op answer, I suppose I should add the self-esteem issues to the list. My STBXW also lacked self-esteem. The moment she got attention from anyone else, she was hooked. Redditor 3, the number one telltale sign of a cheater are the amount of little white lies that they tell. They will lie and lie and lie, God, it's maddening. Redditor follow up, yes. My STBX wife does this, literally lies about the most small insignificant thing constantly, more lies than truth. Everything becomes a little white lie and to them they don't count because they're little lies.